Okay. And if anybody else shows up, we'll just let them in. Okay. So welcome. I always get excited about doing these rituals with you guys. This has become one of those things every single month that I really look forward to. But I am so just unbelievably excited about this ritual because I feel like you guys probably feel the same way. I have so much pent up rage and frustration with all of these just completely atrocious things that are happening to collective humanity across the globe right now, and that the people who are causing it, it's not even that they're not coming to justice, it's that there is no repercussions at all, and so it is being allowed to perpetuate continuously throughout the collective. And I'm livid. And so this felt like a good way that we could take that energy and put it into something that felt productive. So I'm probably going to cry while we do this. I'm going to be honest. I had Megan reach out to me a couple of days ago and share her experiences with some of the dry runs that she did. I personally, all day long, you know that feeling when you're like going to a birthday party or something that you're really looking forward to, that you know something like really amazing is going to happen? That's how I felt about this all day. But it feels more like the energy around this ritual and us doing this ritual is incredibly potent. And so I just all day long have been feeling this buildup. And I'm burping as I say that. This buildup of energy as we have gotten closer and closer and closer to doing this. So let's do a really quick walkthrough of kind of what we're doing and the different components. This was another heavily channeled ritual. I knew what I wanted to do for this. I knew that I wanted to bring about justice, but my guides really filled in the spaces. So hold on, my guides really kind of filled in the spaces on what the best way to do that would be and what the ritual itself needed to look like, because I was kind of at a loss. So first of all, I had, as you can see, if you want to pull up the PDF, if you got that, I had a pretty good number of deities or entities in general that came through wanting to work with us on this. Now, always take into consideration that your guides don't typically specifically come to me when I'm doing this. These are typically entities. I put like a huge kind of cast a wide net as to like, who wants to come in and help us with this stuff. Sometimes I get specific entities that come in, and sometimes my guides are like, hey, there's this entity over here that wants you to do some research on Google about this, what have you. So these are the entities that came through. My whole spirit family is here for this, but we had Nemesis come through. So Nemesis is justice, but more in the form of retribution. Okay, and then we have Mot, which is an Egyptian deity of justice. Themis, who is a Titaness, which I thought was funny because Zeus came in as well. Tyr is a deity that I work with, and he's actually Proto-Germanic, and is all about justice. Shamash, who is the supreme judge of humans. Shamash is from Mesopotamia. Yama came in as well. Yama, I believe, is Hindu. Zeus came in. I don't work with Zeus. I've tried to work with Zeus before, and it was just kind of neither. We were both just kind of like, meh, you're cool, but not for me. But he came in really, really, really strongly, and he specifically said to me, I want to destroy these titans as I did the last. And then I had Bastet come through. I've worked with Bastet before because I work with a lot of the cats in my neighborhood. And so I call her in to kind of help me with that. And she specifically said for the children. So she is here specifically to work justice in the form of retribution for all of these children that have been harmed with all of this. The Arcturian groups that came through were the the Star Being groups were the Arcturians, the Lyrans, Syrians, Mantids, and the Nordics. I've never worked with the Nordics before, but they came through for me specifically. And then I had the Sealy Court and the dragons that came through as well. I also made a little offering to the Fae earlier. I just felt like I needed to. I thought it was really interesting because for those of you who are not familiar with the Trump family lineage, Trump's mother is a MacLeod. The MacLeods have a castle, I believe, on the Isle of Skye. And they are notorious throughout Scotland for actually having a fairy flag and a fairy held captive within one of their towers. Like that's like the lore and mythology of the area that they live in. And so the Fae came through, I'm getting chills. The Fae came through specifically and said that they wanted retribution for that. So whether, there's actually a fairy held captive there, it feels like there is some kind of wrongdoing on the part of the MacLeod family. So, all right. So essentially what we're going to be doing, we have balloons. Each balloon represents a different form of power that is being abused. So this one says governance. Governance is going to be like our political structures, regulatory agencies, international government agencies. Perfect. And this is essentially the power that is being held over the political system and abused within the political system for personal gain. We also have the economic system. So this is banks, investment institutions, and corporations. So this is just financial power. We have information, which is media, social media, publishing, data, and academic. And then security, which is going to be military, intelligence, defense, law enforcement, cybersecurity. And then lastly, we have cultural power. So cultural power is going to cover religious power, universities, entertainment, public figures, social media. This is also going to be like Hollywood, different types of like the music industry, stuff like that, entertainment industry in general. Okay. After that, we have our knife. Okay. This is going to represent the actual justice that is going to come to pass. And I'm going to go ahead and do my white cloth, but we have a white cloth that we are using. So typically when you see Lady Justice, you see her blindfolded with a white cloth, and that is meant to represent the impartiality of the justice system, that everyone comes to justice not based on who they are, but based on what they have done. Right now, that's not happening. So we are representing that by wrapping it around the hilt of the knife. And then again, like I said at the very beginning, we're busting these, representing the breaking of the protective barrier that the balloon represents, and we're collecting the water. Excuse me. I'm then going to take the water outside afterwards, and I'll film this like I did last time, and I'm going to give it back to Mother Gaia. And this is going to be symbolic of taking that power and redispersing it back throughout the collective, so that we can have our economic power back, so that we can see the truth from the media, so that we are able to govern ourselves in the way that we want to be governed. And I believe that that is going to really happen as a kind of a breaking up of centralized government, but that's a different topic for a different day. So that is what we are going to be doing with this. Does anybody have anything that they want to say before we get started? Any questions or?
Who is the Sealy Court? You may have mentioned it, but I'm not sure who that is.
The Fae.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the Seelie cord is a name that's typically used in Celtic mythology for the Fae, and it's a preference that they be referred to as the Seelie cord. At least that's what they've told me. Did you have a question, Jen?
Yes, I do. Again, so sorry I can't find the PDF.
Oh, you're
I'm
okay.
assuming just intention. If I didn't do the balloons, intention and
Yes.
visualization will work okay.
Yes. So,
Um,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
um, and just for I wanted to throw out, I'm going to add my own little balloon. It's a much smaller system than all the ones you said, but it has to do with animal welfare, and it's very similar to all the other things that are corrupt and just bad intentions. And so, if anyone wants to add a little something to the animal welfare industry to get the ick out and get the good stuff back in, I'm going to do that. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I love
We
that. And I know that a couple of people actually made their own balloons for individual people or systems that they themselves wanted to bring to justice as well. So that if you have anything, whether you've made a balloon for it physically or you just want to send an intention similar to what we're representing with the balloons, that's perfectly fine. And please know, anytime you come to any of these, if you have not recreated the physical ritual, I will always be doing it here with the intention that it represents all of us doing the ritual. So that is always something that I set up an intention for. So you don't have to do any work except sit there and send us energy. That's all. I just want you to be here and set your intentions and send us your frequency. And I'll do all the work here. But if you want to do it where you're at, I always, I want you to be able to do that, because I know for some people it holds more power if you're doing it yourself. So I feel that. But it is whatever floats your boat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Anybody else? Okay, if we could all just make sure, it looks like everybody has your microphones muted. You're welcome to keep your camera on, but there's a lot of verbiage that we're saying within this ritual. So I do just ask that you could keep your mic muted during the ritual, and then, as always, we'll talk when we get done. We always talk when we get done. All right. And I'm going to move my balloons over here so that I can just have water in my bowl. Nope, 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 nope. Do not fall. Okay. So everybody just go ahead and close your eyes for me while we get started. Take a couple deep breaths. Bring your awareness into the present moment. Think about the room that you're in, the chair beneath you. Dial into your body. What is it feeling? We're going to go ahead and invite into this space our spirit teams. If you have any spirit family members that you want to call in by name, feel free to do that. We invite here our spirit families. That you would support us in this work. As we bring about justice against those who are abusing their power. We call into this space Nemesis, Mott, Thamus, Tyr, Shamash, Yama, Zeus, and Bastet. We invite the star beings that wish to help. We invite the Seelie Court and the dragons. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our first balloon. And it's going to be our governance balloon. Go ahead and repeat after me before you pop it. With the sword of justice, we tear down your defenses and drain the power you have abused in retribution for those who came before us and who survive alongside us. All right, go ahead and pop your balloon. We take back from you the power to govern ourselves. All right, we're going to do the economic balloon next. We take back from you our resources. We starve no more. Let me pop our balloon. Next is the information balloon. We take back from you the power you stole through lies and illusion. The truth prevails. Go ahead and pop that balloon. Next is the security balloon. We take back from you the power to enforce the law, a responsibility you do not uphold. We gather today to hold you accountable. Go ahead and pop it. And the cultural balloon. We take back from you these factions which you used to perpetuate your illusions and lies. We believe, see, know, hear, and speak the truth. I'm going to go ahead and pop that one. And if you have any that you would like to do on your own really quick, we're going to just take a moment of silence And I want you to just focus. Focus on that energy that we just drained. All right. Stay here in this focus. And we're going to do the frequency work now. I want you to focus, dial into your desire for justice against these individuals, against these factions. Let it guide you to the version of self that exists on the timeline, already having that experience. When you feel that frequency start reverberating, resonating within your heart space, allow it to spread outward into your limbs, into your head, into your trunk. What does that version of you see in this reality? What do they feel? Allow yourself to experience what they are experiencing as justice is served as it should be. Imagine that frequency that resonates throughout your body, vibrating off of you and into your surroundings. And when you feel that amplification take place, you're welcome to just sit here for a moment, breathe, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. That was intense. How we feeling?
Good. I didn't expect to cry so much.
I think that it's 3:33 here. I think that this served as almost like an outlet for
Yeah.
some of the energy that we've been carrying around for a while. Did anybody have any experiences they want to share?
I'll share.
Go for it, Jen.
I didn't cry, which is very weird for me. I'm a crier.
Same.
I felt the opposite. I felt like this overwhelming sense of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw all the people in power have to personally experience the bad circumstances that people like homeless people, unhoused people, people who've been persecuted. They shifted roles. And so they had to personally feel like what their actions were doing. And then I was like, wait, that's not necessarily nice, but it was like just this like equality. And then there was like this big, just like flush of power, flush of eliteness. And then it was like, I just got this vision of everyone living on the land together, like holding hands.
I love
So
that.
it was very, yeah, just kind of, you'll get what you gave type of energy. Not in a mean way, just in a just way.
Mm-hmm.
I
Honestly,
saw the same thing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I saw the same thing. I saw flushing. I saw them like being flushed down the toilet. And then I saw like at the end, everybody holding hands around the earth, like kids being reunited with their moms and like no and men stepping up and being protectors and like helping women and like families being together and not torn apart and like women helping women and not fighting or hating each other. And so that's so cool that we saw the same thing.
I they what I saw was like physically I saw almost like a trial, but it was outside and it had heavy French Revolution vibes. But like nobody was being beheaded. Like it was like it was outdoors. There was millions of people in this crowd. And the person that I in particular saw, and I think that he was really just meant to represent all of the things that are wrong with the abuse of power that's happening. I saw Donald Trump up on the stage, and they were essentially like they were stripping him of his power. He had on like this really nice suit, and they were like leading him off of the stage and essentially putting him in with the rest of humanity. And I know like to some people might think, oh, well, you know, letting him live a normal life it's that's no punishment. That's too good for him. But what you have to understand is that his power, his status, his ability to manipulate the system, his finances, being able to do whatever he wants when he wants with no repercussions, that is what he values most in the entire world. And taking that away with him, from him, and making him just a normal person is literally the worst thing you could do to him. And he was visibly distraught. But all of the people like all of the people in the crowd that I saw were very pleased with the outcome of this trial. And there were other people that I could see, they were kind of clouded. I couldn't see specifically who it was, but there were other people that were in the trial, and they were all like sitting there handcuffed, waiting their turn. And it was just all of these people coming out, and they were kind of having this huge outdoor arena trial like what you saw during the French Revolution. It was very interesting.
I heard the word tribunals, but I don't know what it means. So I looked it up, and it says a specialized court or panel established by government designed to hear and decide disputes, war crimes. So
Yep.
that matches your thing.
It's so essentially a tribunal is not like an official hearing. It's like a court that is set up specifically to deal with an emergency situation. Which I would say that that's what this is.
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah. Anybody else have any experiences they want to share, or
I just wanted to say a couple things.
yeah.
Um, so we're in Pisces season still in the water. The North Node's in Pisces. Everything's not in Aries yet, so it's really good that we're doing this ritual with water when the astrological, the heavens look how they look. Um, I I want to read one psalm because the psalms are like the Bible verses of the people back in the day in the medieval times. It's the way they did magic. It's actually had magical powers to the people back then. And Psalms 29:3 is the voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. So
Wow.
um
I love that.
I just wanted to put that over because, w we want balance, like Jen said. Like it's not about, you know, punishment, really. That's up to God. So it's more about how, like you said, the unhoused people, they can be lifted up, and the people that had all the resources to take that all away are kind of, it's just balance. And like for the people
Yeah.
that were at the top, that doesn't feel very good, right? If
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
balanced
That
out.
does feel
So,
like punishment to them.
yes. So, um, yeah, I just wanted to say those couple things. I just think it was a really good ritual to do with water under the current astrological sky. Yeah.
No, I didn't ask specifically for a ritual with water, and I thought it was really interesting that they did that. But they were showing me, if you go back to like, they were okay. So I've been, for whatever reason, I've been really into Londinium lately, which is the Roman fort that later became London. And they were showing me that in civilizations like that, not just in Londinium, but in any human settlement around the world, they typically started on the water. Water controlled trade. So whoever controlled the water controlled the trade. Whoever controlled the trade controlled the money. And whoever controlled the money controlled those in power. And so they were like, that's how we want you to represent the power, is we want you to represent it with water. And yeah, a couple of weeks later, after I was kind of like looking at the thing, I was like, oh, we're going to be doing this in Pisces season. This is perfect, especially because, like you said, we're having a huge shift in the next couple of weeks where it's not just going to be the sun's shifting into Aries. A lot of stuff is going to shift into Aries, and there's already a lot there with Saturn, Neptune, and then we'll also have the sun. When you bring about the new moon, we're also going to have the moon in Aries. Like there's going to be a period around the new moon where I think there's going to be a Mars-Neptune conjunction, like the weekend before the new moon happens, which, by the way, is probably when we're going to be doing the next one. I think I've decided on April 12th, which is the day before the Mars-Neptune conjunction. So it's going to be really intense energy again. And I don't know what we're going to do for that one, but that's kind of when I have it scheduled. But Yeah, I thought that was very interesting as well. So thank you for highlighting that. Yeah, I honestly am really happy with the way that this went. And I'm with you, Jen. It was very interesting because I was fully expecting to cry through this whole thing. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through. I don't know how I'm going to say all of these things. I'm going to be like blubbering the whole time. But I didn't. And it honestly, it felt like all of my anger. I got really serious, and it felt like all of the anger that I have been feeling over the past several years just came out in this ritual. So, super powerful.
Thank you, Chelsea, for doing it today. I really appreciate it because today is the birthday of my abuser, and he was horrendous to me, physically, sexually, in every possible way, financially. And so I really appreciate you doing it today. And I felt that power shift too. When I was popping the balloons, I was so powerful. I'm so glad you chose that or that they guided you to do that because it was very like freeing as you popped the balloon and like felt the water gush out and like the water on my hands. And I was calling back my power and my energy as I was doing it and my resources and my innocence and just all the things. And like it was so powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad you were able to have that experience. And yeah, it was funny because I'm like, I have this knife that I got when my husband's grandmother passed away. This was his grandfather's, and it was just randomly in her house because she never threw anything away. And so I was like, I'm going to use this because it is sharp as heck. And it was something, stabbing balloons with this, like that feeling.
Yeah.
Whoo!
Yeah, very powerful.
I'm also over here just like, please don't cut myself. Please don't cut myself. Please don't cut myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you guys want, we can just kind of chat for a little bit. If you guys have any ideas to throw around about what you would want to work on the next weave for, I love getting y'all's input on these because y'all are the ones that are showing up helping me do this work. And so, if y'all can't think of anything, my guides will give me something. I know that they will, but I would love this to be a collaborative project because the work itself is going to be collaborative. So don't mind me. I'm just getting my tea ready. So y'all can, if y'all have any suggestions or anything that sounds good for you or anything that you've been wanting to send energy to, like we did the idea of judgment.
Not yet, but are we going to cut the balloons together or we do that after?
We'll do that after. And literally all you have to do is just cut the balloons into tiny little pieces. Mine broke into very tiny little pieces. So I don't know. Like I may cut some of the larger ones. But
do we think or say anything while we do that?
It's majorly we're just kind of physically representing, blocking them from being able to recreate that protective barrier, from being able to protect themselves, being able to gather that power back onto themselves. So you can, however you want to ritualize it, you're welcome to do that. And then we're literally just throwing them away. Okay. That was kind of what I ultimately came to the conclusion would be best to dispose of the balloon pieces. And then the water, just make sure you hold on to that because we're taking that outside and pouring it back onto the earth, kind of representing giving that power back to Mother Gaia, back to the collective.
Okay. Thank you.
Had a little thought for maybe a little clue for the next topic.
Okay.
Feels like we've been, and take it or leave it, feels like we've been breaking down a lot of the systems. I feel like maybe it's time to start empowering those of us way showers and trailblazers on how to build the new systems. to kind of like light a fire under the community building or the new way forward, or I don't know, something about assisting those to show the way or something like that. Or assisting those on how to build community. Like, we know we're supposed to be a community, but like,
yeah,
something about that. I don't know.
Well,
just thought.
And it's interesting that you say that, because one of the things that came through, I was looking again at the astrology for April the 12th, and it talked about that Mars-Neptune conjunction, which is all about breaking through that cloudiness that Neptune can sometimes bring. And so I had already kind of toyed with the idea of doing something to bring clarity to those of us who are supposed to be stepping into those roles. Because I feel like a lot of people right now know that they're supposed to be doing something, but they just don't know what.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So I don't feel like it needs to be an awakening or even an activation. I feel like a lot of people are already awakened. They're already activated. It's just the clarity that people are needing to know what direction they need to go in, to know how to, like, do I need to learn something? Do I already know what I need to know? So yeah, I kind of like that.
Interesting. When you said that, it was like, yes, the clarity. Because there's so many of us who are like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Wait, what am I doing? Like the exact little puzzle piece. So,
and especially we'll also, I believe, have Mercury in Aries at that time, and so it won't be involved in the conjunction, but we will have the idea of like the Mercury and Mars kind of coming together in the sign of Aries, which I feel is mental clarity about how to move forward. So yeah, I like that. And we're going to be burning shit, because I love to burn stuff anyway, and I've gone 2 whole sessions without lighting a fire in my office. So, I gotta keep my husband on his toes. I have a fire alarm in here, and I literally every time I would come in here and do a ritual, my fire alarm would go off, to the point that he took it off the wall, and he was like, I can't do this anymore. So we gotta burn some stuff. We'll probably be burning some stuff and smoking it up in here.
Sounds good to me. Let's burn it up.
Well, cool. I like that. I love that. Okay. And I'll sit down. They usually give me more directionality and specific, or get a little bit more specific about what we're going to be working on and how to signify that clarity. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but I love that concept. Yeah. There was something else I was going to ask you guys. I'm trying to remember what it was. I keep seeing a lot of stuff about I keep seeing more and more creators that I've followed for a long time that are channeling star beings talking about contact happening in 2027. Bashar's been talking about this for 5 years at this point. And that in and of itself, I feel like is significant, because Bashar, I think he predicted 9/11, and there's another one. I think it was the start of one of the wars, and maybe even the pandemic. I don't know. I may be giving him too much credit with that one. I can't remember. But he doesn't. He always says Darlanka always says Bashar doesn't share world events or big events that are going to take place unless it is so probable that it would take a lot of changes on our part, a lot of very, very weird decisions to shift us away from that occurrence. But then I started hearing other people talking about it. I follow a guy named Daniel Scranton that I really love. He channels a lot of different entities. He lives in Australia, but he's an American gentleman. And he was talking about it on a podcast. And I've never heard him talk about specific dates for contact. So I'm curious if this has been popping up for anyone else, or if this has just been something that's been popping up in my reality experience.
So Bashar also said that if we vote for the woman, he didn't say names, if we vote for the woman, that would bring contact sooner. And if we vote for orange, that it would bring World War III. And
Exactly.
so
And
I
that's,
remember him saying that, and that was a while ago.
well, and I think it freaked a lot of people out too, because obviously orange won.
Yeah, and I just full disclosure, I'm not political. I'm not on either side. I think it's the illusion of a choice. I think it's all bullshit. But just saying, he did say that.
Yeah. No, he totally did. He totally did. And the thing is that I think he has always said it was going to be 2026 or 2027. And I think if Kamala had won, it would have been 2026. And with Trump in office, it would have been 2027. Because he had said early 2026 to mid 2027, which that's a big gap. That's a 1.5 year gap. That's a lot of time. But now he is saying it's like a 6-month gap. He says either like early 2027 to mid 2027 that this like major contact event is supposed to be taking place. But yeah, there's also like, there's this, and I'm curious because I know Megan knows more about this because she's the one who brought it to my attention, but there's something that's supposed to be happening on Easter when the fixed star Regulus aligns with the Sphinx. Is that correct?
Yeah. Chris Bledsoe's book, he's on all over the podcast, The UFO of God. His book he wrote, I don't know when he wrote it. It was several years ago, but he's been on the podcast circuit that April 5th, Easter, the star Regulus will be between the paws of the Sphinx. And that's when a new knowledge will be renewed. I mean, he did say, return of Christ, but it's just like the knowledge of whatever. Aliens, Christ consciousness.
Right.
So April 5th is not, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people were like, oh, that's when contact is going to happen. And I'm like, no, even Chris Bledsoe himself did not say that contact was going to happen on Easter. But he, like, it feels like it's going to be one of those things, like, even with what you're saying, it feels like maybe there's going to be a huge activation of Christ consciousness. Like a lot of
event, right? Like the event or the flash. That's what supposedly it is.
Oh, is that what people are thinking, that it's going to be the? I know that there's
We've been waiting for that for years. I mean, since 2018, 2017, they've been talking about the event. And then some people call it the flash or the solar flash. And it's supposed to be that,
right,
like an awakening, a mass consciousness awakening. And then I've been having a lot of dreams about it. My kids had dreams about it. Just, it's so weird, like just repeatedly.
Yeah.
And so that's really, but also I wonder if we're misunderstanding, and it could be, I mean, not to the event or the flash. Yes, that, but the contact could be like personal, like you know how your awakening is personal, and like you start with the dark night of the soul, and you wake up to the bottom of the fourth dimension, and it's all crazy, and you see dark stuff or whatever, and you have to go on a journey, right? And then you elevate out of that. And so what if it's similar to that, but like we start personally having our own different awakening, but it's contact. And like we have our own Chris Bledsoe stories,
And what's interesting about that, so they're talking, that's why I made that face. They're talking to me as you're talking to me, and essentially kind of like confirming what you're saying. And it's like they're showing me like a tearing down of the veil. And it's like not the whole veil coming down all at one time. I think that would be really overwhelming for especially people who don't believe in the non-physical realm. But they're showing me like more and more people. And this has been happening for a while, right? I talk about this to a lot of people. This is one of those things that like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're good, Megan. for whatever reason, I'm that person at a party, like sitting over in the corner talking to whoever will listen about how in 2012 ghost hunters on shows like Ghost Hunters. I don't know why I thought that was going to be a different show name. Started talking about having different experiences with the supernatural. And they were being called out to these locations where they had been experiencing paranormal activity for a very long time. But after 2012, because I think Ghost Hunters started in 2010. So if you go in like the third season, all of a sudden they start saying, like at the beginning, they were like, oh, they've been having paranormal activity and they just want to know if it's safe. That's all anybody wanted to know in those first 2 seasons. So then you hit season 3, okay, after we experienced everything with the December 12th, 2012 thing when everybody thought that the world was going to end. And they start talking about how now people want to know why their activity is changing. Why is the activity becoming stronger? Why all of this stuff? And it's because that's when the shift happened. I think that's when the very first timeline shift happened that kind of set into motion this mass awakening, the shift into New Earth. It was that 12-12-12 Mayan calendar thing, because that was the end of the first age. And now we're stepping into a new age, but there's this transition period that we have to go through as we shift into this new age. And so if you watch all of the ghost hunting shows, which I've seen them all pretty much, and there is this snowball effect that takes place over many, many seasons of all of these shows, where you continue having people that are reporting the supernatural activity that they've been experiencing in this prison for 50 years changed in 2012 and has gotten more and more aggressive, or has just gotten stronger, or, we're now seeing like full form apparitions. And so it feels like what's going to be happening with this is another step of that. And it's going to be like, now the people who have never had a supernatural experience in their entire life are being given the opportunity to experience this. People who have been having experiences are having an even more heightened experience. People who have been working on, opening their third eye and using their medium abilities are having even more palpable experiences with this. So that's kind of what it feels like to me.
And that would make sense, because we're the ones that have been prepared. So, yeah. And we're the ones that are going to be helping the collective when they lose their shit and are like, wait a minute, what? This is real? You weren't crazy? And so we're going to have to guide them.
Exactly.
And so it would make sense that we're the ambassadors for humanity.
Exactly. So that's what I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be this like huge, world-ending thing. It might be a paradigm shift, something that a lot of people are going to have experiences with, that is going to create a shift in the way that we perceive reality, the way that we perceive the way that the world works, the way that we perceive what's real and what isn't. Yeah. I think that's the big one. That's what keeps coming through for me, is it's like, again, people who didn't believe in ghosts are now seeing them. People who didn't believe in fae are seeing evidence. People who didn't believe in interdimensionality in general are now experiencing interdimensional experiences. So, which is cool to me. It sounds amazing. Bring it on.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I think it's another awakening for us. While the collective is having their first awakening, we're going to have our own awakening. And I think also the atrocities happening around the world are just a story to explain to us that ascend why those people aren't here anymore. Why the split, the bifurcation, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because the way that I see that happening, it's come through on several different levels. As far as like the bifurcation of reality, like I definitely feel like everybody chose.
Yeah.
And continues to get opportunities to choose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like there's been an uptick in deaths experienced around the world in the past. I feel like it started last June is when I first like really started noticing it. It just felt like I was hearing like my husband's grandmother passed away, and then we had another family member that passed away after that, and then my friend had a family member that passed away. It was like everybody that I knew had someone pass away last year. And it wasn't just like, oh, they all, they got COVID. It wasn't that kind of a thing. Like some of it was like really weird stuff that just randomly happened. And it just feels like there are a lot of soul contracts that are being fulfilled. People are getting their jump point, essentially. It's like, all right, the shift is about to happen. And you told us when you came into this experience that you wanted to be here right up until that new earth paradigm shift took place. So if you're wanting to jump ship, now's the time. And so they're all kind of jumping ship. Taking advantage of that jump point. It's very interesting.
I've been getting a lot of the same of all of that, kind of what you said, Sylvia. Like, it's just not going to be what we think. Like, definitely 2027, like Bashar says. And, he talks about there's going to be this large craft that just hovers over the ocean and people are going to be able to observe. I don't think everyone's going to be able to observe because someone whose frequency isn't high enough would see that and they like implode.
Right. Exactly.
So it feels, oh, I got resonance. So like it feels like, and the open contact is already happening. Like we're channeling, we're seeing orbs, we're seeing fucking elementals, we're seeing dragons. Like, so not like my parents, but me. And so like our frequency keeps raising. And so we keep, like you said, Chelsea, we keep experiencing more and more and more. So more and people do more and more and more. So all of a sudden there's going to be like 10 people who can see that ship. And then there's going to be 100 people who can see that ship. But it's not going to be like all of a sudden everyone on the planet sees the ship like we think, because that's what like Hollywood would do, right? And that's their. So I don't know. I just feel like definitely 2027, definitely the Kamala versus the orange guy thing is playing out. But I also think like we're going to be surprised as fuck, and we're never going to be able to anticipate what it actually is.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just going to be way different than we think, because 20 years ago, no one saw orbs. Now there's Chris Bledsoes all over. Like, it's just going to keep growing. So I think it's more of like this wildfire spreading awareness, like you said, like consciousness raising, frequency raising. What happens to all of us as our consciousness and frequency raise? We experience more magic. So like it really does feel about that, instead of this like event where the aliens come, because they're fucking already here.
Exactly.
It's just who can see them and who can't, who's done the work, who hasn't. So I don't know if that's exactly what you're saying, Sylvia, but it feels very in line with that. And like what you're saying too, Chels. Like, and also feels like Bashar like likes to fuck with us a little bit and keep us on our toes in the best way. And so saying open contact 2027, like we all picture this ship coming down in the it's not going to be like that. It's going to be totally not what we think. That's what I think. Who knows?
I also like one of the
just my 2
things.
cents.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was going to say that we also, my guidance has been telling me for years now, like, listen to your discernment. You need discernment. Cultivate your discernment. Like, listen to your gut. Don't go off of just what channelers are saying or whatever. Like, what are you specifically seeing in your dreams? What are you hearing in your guidance? Because also we have to take into consideration that like some people can get hijacked. And I mean, Daryl Anka was in the film industry, just saying. And so like you have to be like, eh. And then also Chris Bledsoe has like government affiliation, like he's real like this with the alphabet company. So I'm like, you know, you have to use your discernment of like, what do you feel? What is God telling you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't feel like you should be participating in anything without a discerning mind, because otherwise you're essentially letting other people dictate what it is you're doing with your life, what it is you're believing. And it is going to be really, really easy to fall hook, line, and sinker for an illusion in that circumstance. So, but like back to what you were saying, Jen, it's interesting because like the way that they have shown it to me is that it's like we get to choose whether or not we participate, essentially. So like, I think there probably is going to be, you know, like Bashar said, and I don't know how this is going to happen. I'm kind of with you on this. Like I grain of salt. But I think that there is going to be some kind of like big event, but there's going to be some people who are like, oh, that's AI. And there are going to be a lot of people who just choose to not believe it. Even when the truth is right there in their face, they're going to choose not to participate with it. And then there are going to be other people who know, okay, this is not AI. This is a real thing. This is actually happening. And then I think there are going to be some people who are like, okay, I can kind of start coming around to the idea that this is real. And so like, I don't know if it's going to be one of those things that like some people don't see it. I think it's more that some people choose not to see the truth of it.
Which is happening already. That's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think we're kind of already on that trajectory and like being set up for us. And I also think that this is why AI was rolled out in the way that it is and why it's being used for the purpose that it is, because the people who are in charge are trying to keep us from moving in the direction of having contact with these outside civilizations that could set us free from this control paradigm that we're being kept in right now. And so if we have open contact, if we move in that direction, if we make the choice, which that's the whole thing, is we have to make the choice to participate. If we make the choice, then they lose what they've been creating for these many, many eons. And so if they create this thing that creates reasonable doubt in the majority of the collective, then they can move us, collective humanity, in the direction of saying, oh, well, that's not real. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't know how it's going to happen. And I personally think that they're going to try to do something that does have enough shock and awe value to it. Like, it doesn't feel like it's going to be something that is gentle. Everything up until this point has been gentle. It's been, you know, 2 or 3 people having individual experiences, or, you know, even like the whole thing in Miami. I'm not really sure where they were like seeing beings on the street and people were filming it and they cleared out a whole block and then the FBI got involved and it was a whole thing. I don't know where I land on that. I don't know. Like it feels real when I feel into it. It feels like there was some kind of interdimensional activity happening there. But it feels like with this, they're going to do something big. And I don't think it's going to be like an Independence Day situation. I don't think it's going to be that big. But it does feel like they are going to be waving a flag, trying to get our attention. And I think the bifurcation is going to take place with people who's ready to believe it, who's ready to see the truth.
That makes so much sense. When you said there is going to be an event, some people are going to be like, oh, that's AI. Some people are just going to believe because we know. And some people are going to be like, I don't know. That feels so right. Yeah. Which kind of ties into what everyone is saying. That is true for all of these scenarios. So I don't know. That makes a lot of sense.
I just think they've been working so hard on trying to get us to not trust things online.
Very, very.
I think that's why. So, because when I have felt into the future before, I have seen collective humanity being a part of the Federation of Planets. Like they have shown me people on starships traveling around like in Star Trek. Like, there being like a Federation of Planets academy here, and we joined Starfleet. I don't have a better name for it right now. But they have shown me that we essentially become a part of some kind of intergalactic political system that already exists, and that we're just kind of being invited into. And they're doing this, one, to protect us from the people that are already here, the entities that are already here, but also to help us move in the direction of like continuing to raise our frequency, continuing to expand, continuing to grow and do all of these things. So I don't know what it's going to be like. They've shown me visions here and there, but none of them shows me an exact, path forward. But I think 2027 is going to be an incredibly interesting year. I will say that. I believe it's going to be another, 2020, a lot of people look back and they're like, oh, that was like a huge changing point in my life. My life is nothing like it was before 2020. I think that's what 2027 is going to be like too. So I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
All right, guys. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about, discuss, bring up? It's okay if not. No?
I did want to say, even in the Bible, it says, for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see.
Mm-hmm. It does. And I think it even says something about like how in the end times people, like they will create a paradigm where people cannot believe their own eyes and ears. Like it'll be a regime that creates that almost like perceptive blur. So we're there.
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
Like they'll create a paradigm where people can't believe what they see or what they hear. And so a lot of people will only want to believe what they're told to see, what they're told to hear.
Oh, which is what you were saying earlier.
Yeah. And I just feel like there's just an abhorrent amount of people in the collective right now that just want to be told what's happening. They don't necessarily want to look around for themselves or ascertain the answer. They want someone to tell them what to see in a situation. They want someone to tell them what to hear in a situation. And they're literally being told on television that this, I'll use the files as an example, that, none of that is real, that, he isn't in the files 3,000 something times. I think it's more than that. I think it's like 30,000 something times actually. Like it's an absolutely heinous amount. And it's like, but we've seen this. Like you can read documents and see pictures that exist within these files, but then the administration is telling you that no, like you didn't see that.
Yeah, or Whoopi Goldberg on The View saying that she didn't date Jeffrey Epstein and it's ridiculous. And so, but that wasn't the question. So they're like, well, but you were in the files though.
Yeah.
We're not asking you, did you date him?
But thanks for giving that away to us.
But yeah, so like, it's just like, what? That wasn't the question. What are you talking about?
But now I'm suspicious of you for dating Jeffrey Epstein. Wasn't the direction I was going in, but all right, well, God, it's so funny. I didn't even hear about that. Jesus.
Yeah, or people that are more up in arms that orange is gay. I'm like, that's not what this is about. This is about something else. It's about defiling the masculine and defiling the feminine and defiling children, not
the
gay.
Fact that homosexuality would be worse than pedophilia.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right. And like, no, they're hiding behind that, actually. And if you want to think that, then they won, because that's not what this is about.
It's okay. We wove justice today. We're doing good. All right. I gotta separate myself from it. Otherwise I'm gonna like walk out of this room and just like rage about my house for a couple of hours. But yeah, I definitely, I feel like we're in a transition year. I think everybody was like, oh, 2026 is going to be my year. And everybody's been saying that every year since 2020. And like, I think that the first part of 2026 is going to be pretty rough. But I think after we get past July, things are going to kind of decline and be, I don't want to say better, but less chaotic. I don't know if anybody has looked at the astrology of July.
Oh, Jupiter and Leo. I'm excited because that's my seventh house. But also, I equate it to like the government or Big Brother is like your abusive ex-boyfriend that you're leaving or divorcing. And like, first you got to leave. And that's the really scary part. And first, you discovered the text messages or whatever evidence. And then you're getting the courage to walk out and leave. And, it's a process.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's unfolding for our country and the world, because it's not just our government, it's all governments.
Right. Right now you have the people that are making excuses like, oh, he didn't mean it, or oh, he said it wasn't true,
Or they're trying to demonize orange and be like, oh, but not us. It's just America. Yeah, right.
Oh,
That's
no,
not
it
true.
was happening all around the world.
No, because it's Mexico for sure. It's the UK for sure. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's not just here.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. I definitely feel like the way that my guides were talking to me about this is that like there were other groups besides just us that were doing rituals very similar to this one,
Wow.
weaving justice. And so we're essentially, they kept telling me, because I was like, oh, I wish more people would come so we would have like, just this huge group of people that would, put energy into this. And they were like, it doesn't matter how many people show up. They were like, there are groups all over the world that are doing very similar rituals to the one that you're doing. So, you guys are putting your energy into this much larger pot. So I just thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, I got the same thing, that it doesn't matter how many people show up. And also Megan and I have been doing it since last year. We've been doing our own stuff. So yeah, I'm sure tons of people are.
Oh, definitely.
I got that feeling too. Sorry, I'm unstable. It's my internet connection, but I got that feeling too. And also that we're really far down this path towards like justice. Like people have been doing this for so long, and we're like so far, we're so close to the tipping point. Like every person, every single drop towards the energy going towards this, like it's just like, like if a car is like on the edge of like an embankment, about to roll, it's just like one slight movement and it'll roll down. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
Can
love
you
that.
hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to co-sign Lisa's statement, that analogy that she said about the car teetering on the edge, and that we've been walking this journey for so long collectively, like putting our energy into this type of, weave or magic or whatever. And like how you just said, we're so far along the road, and like we've been on the road for so long that it's very tiring, and we think we have like 80 more miles to walk through the desert, and that's not true. And I think we have to remember that for our own mental health and faith, that the energy that we've put in over the years and the things that we've provided with our energy and our own skills and magic and whatever mean something, even if the car is not over the cliff yet. It's there. So faith is really important in our own abilities and in ourself and in God.
Yes.
Agreed. I totally agree with that. All right, guys. I'm
Thank you,
proud of
Chelsea.
us. Yeah. Thank you
us
guys
too.
for coming. Like, I appreciate all of you so much for being here. You guys are my regulars. I look forward to seeing your faces every single month.
Can we say a thank you to the beings that helped us and let them go?
Yes, let's do that really quick. We extend a thank you. Immense gratitude to those entities that came forward today to join us in this work, to protect us in this ritual space. Thank you for lending your energy to this work and to this cause. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Puppy. Hi, little baby.
She loves to join when there's good energy.
Oh, I love that.
It's really cute. She's high vibes for sure. Thank you so
Oh,
much, Chels.
well, you're so
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for helping us with all of this. I really appreciate you guys. As I said, we're probably going to hop on for April the 12th. It'll still be at 3 o'clock. I'm trying to keep that part very standard or consistent so that it, you guys kind of know when it's going to be happening. And it is always Eastern time. So yeah, if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear what you guys experience in the next few weeks as this all kind of rolls out. And then, obviously, if we have any big experiences with justice within the collective, I'm definitely going to be putting it up onto my socials. So keep a lookout there. And if you know anyone that would want to participate in this, want to send more energy into some kind of a ritual like this, I am going to be posting the recording from this video or from this session today onto my YouTube. So they're welcome to go and participate in the aftermath. Time doesn't exist, so it will be just as potent as if they were here with us live. So I love you guys so much. Thank you again for being here, and I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye, guys. Mwah.